Hi! On this video we will add the sort by utility so we can order those designs here either by default, which is the sort index, by area, or by design number. And this will be done through the help of the query string. So let's go ahead and start. At the beginning I will do a little change here on the website's policy. By opening the default page, then pressing the F7. Right now the admin is the only one who has the authority to add a new design. I will let any staff member has the authority to add a design and edit the particular design he has already added. So this will demand also going here to the default page and remove here the condition which says visible equal 1, because visible equal 1 will make the admin, the staff member, and any regular visitor to the website doesn't see those invisible designs. So I will remove this condition, and let's see how to compensate the absence of this condition in our code behind page. So we have right now our repeater. So right now I have here the repeater designs, and I will select the action of item data bound. So for each item this repeater is binding, I will type the following. I will first test whether this item is a header item, data item, or a footer item. So I will type if e.item.item type equals item, and it's very important to add the or e.item type equals alternating item. Otherwise this condition will only include the odd records and neglect the even records. I will define a new variable here called design id. This one equals e.item.data item, the design id. And I will add a function here to test whether the current user should have the ability to view this design or not. So I will type here protected function design visibility by val design id as integer, and this function will return either true or false. Dem db as new the entities 101 designs. Dem my design equals db dot designs dot single function m dot design id equals design id. Okay, now if my design dot user id, so user id is the id of the user who has uploaded this particular design, equals user dot identity dot get user id, or user dot isenroll admin, and by doing so I give the admin the full authority to view any design regardless being invisible or uploaded by somebody else among the staff members. Then return true. Else, if my design dot visible equals false, then this will return false to the general visitor. Else, if it is visible, return true. Okay, now I will type here e.item.visible equals the function design visibility of the design id. Now let's rebuild our application, and before I test the page I will go to the SQL server. I will mark two designs as invisible. So this one is invisible and this one is invisible. Okay, and one of the two designs, which is a blue sky, let's assume that the user who has already uploaded it is Hazem Khalil. So Control C and Control V. Okay, now I am already logged as an admin, so if I refresh the page, normally nothing will change. Now let's log off. By logging off, two designs will not be visible for the regular user. Now if I log in as Hazem Khalil, he is only able to view 8 designs. Why? Because he hasn't uploaded this design, which is jungles. So he uploaded the blue sky and he is already able to locate the blue sky. However, he cannot view the jungles design. So our code right now is working perfectly. Now let's add the sort by panel and its drop down list. So in order to save our time, I have already prepared the markup. So go to default and on the source, and before the div designs, I will add this div sort by, and the div sort by has an input group which is the drop down list. I didn't use a drop down list as I will make this code depend on JavaScript. So this drop down menu has 3 options: sort by sort index, which is the default, sort by area, or sort by design number. Okay, and there is a button which has the class button btn success, and by default its display is none. Now let's save all and let's refresh our page. This is what has been added, this sort by div. Now there is a lot of space here. Let's see what is the problem. So this is the jumbotron. The jumbotron has a lot of space, has a lot of margin at the bottom. So I will override this by going to the CSS default, and for the jumbotron I will make the margin button equals to 10 pixels. Okay, and let's save all and let's refresh. Okay, now what I want to do is that when the user change the selected item here, the go button will appear here. So if you want to do that, we can do it very easily through the jQuery code. Okay, now on page load I will type the name of the drop down list, which is drop sort by which action, the change action of course. What will happen? Function, and our go button will show btn go dot show. Okay, now let's test our page. Perfect. So what I want to do here is that when the user clicks the button will redirect us to the same page. In addition to a query string added to the URL has a value of the selected item from this drop down menu. So let's see how to do that. So button go dot click action function, and I will change the window dot location dot href will be equal to the same URL, which is window dot location, but I haven't chosen the href here because the href will return the URL along with its query string. So I want the URL without the query string, so I will type path name. This will return the URL without any string, without any query string, in addition to a query string which is order by equals plus drop sort by dot val. Okay, now let's save all, refresh, and if I go to area, click on go, okay, now it's working. Design number, now it's working. However, when you enter the page which has already the designs ordered by design number, you will discover that the drop down menu selected item is not typical to the query string order by value. So it's very important on page load to read the order by query string value and select the item which has a similar value from the drop down list. There is a function that I have already told you about before, and we used it over and over, almost over every page. This function is responsible for reading the query string. So get queue_string, so var order by equals get queue_string of the value order by. Okay, now I will type here on page load the drop sort by dot val will be equal to order by. Okay, let's save all and refresh. So let's first change it to area. Okay, now it's working. However, if you click on the home page, since the hyperlink home refers to the default.aspx page, without any query strings, the drop-down list will have no items selected. So instead of write this code directly, I will type here if order by equals nothing, then order by will be equal to sort index with double quotations. Okay, refresh. Okay, without a query string it will choose default, and with the query string it will work properly as well. Now let's start typing the code by which our repeater's SQL data source will change its SQL select command according to the order by query string. Let's go to the code behind page, and I will name here order by as string equals request dot query string order by. Okay, now if string dot is null or empty, order by, then order by equals sort index. Pretty much exactly the equivalent code to what we have just written here in the default.js. Select case order by. The first case is case sort index, which is the default. The select command will maintain the same as we have just written before. So our SQL repeater designs dot select command will be equal to this command. So I will select this and cut it instead of copy, because there will be no meaning to maintain the select command here, as the select command will be read from the code behind page. So Control V. Okay, I have copied it with the quotations, so this will be the select command. Then what will happen in case of area? So I will copy both lines and paste them twice. In the area case, the order will be according to the area, and in the design number case, the order will be according to the design number. And let's assume here that when the user chooses to order by area, he wants to get the design with the biggest area first. I will type here descending order. Rebuild our solution. Now let's test our page. So nothing will change for the default, okay, as expected. Now let's choose the area. Now you can see that the designs has been ordered according to the area and design number. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. At the end, I want to discuss why I have chosen to do this example using JQuery with the help of the query string. So in order to answer this question, I will try to think as a beginner by choose from the beginning. Instead of working with the HTML select, I will work with a drop-down list, for example. So the drop-down list will have the same ID here. I will comment this HTML select at the end. So let's first copy all of those properties. So CSS class equals form control, and okay, now let's go here inside the drop-down list and add 3 items. So I will add a new list item with a value equals sort index and text equals default. Okay, now let's copy this one twice. Okay, now let's delete this one, and instead of the hyperlink I will add here a button. So let's add a link button and give it the same class here and the same style as well. So Control C, Control V, and of course don't forget to remove the display none, and instead of the display none I will add here visible. The visible property equals false by default. So this is a server property which should prevent the server from sending the element to the page first place. comparing to the CSS property display equal none, which maintains the element as a member inside the page but hidden. Now this one should be CSS class instead of class, and here let's type go. Okay, and the ID will be copied here. Now let's delete this one, let's save all, and let's refresh our page. When you change anything inside the menu, the button will not appear, so we will have to handle this in the code behind page. And in order to handle this in the code behind page, the drop down list has to get the property auto post back equals true. Otherwise, when you change anything inside the drop down list, it will not affect the display of the button. So let's press F7 now and select the drop sort by the text changed event. All what I have to type here is button go dot visible equals true. Now let's rebuild our solution. Let's refresh. Okay, that was a very easy developer task to accomplish, I must admit. However, as you might have noticed, when we change the drop-down list, the page has been sent all together to the server then received back, just for the purpose of displaying the go button. And that should result in a very bad user experience, as sometimes this post back could take a long time, especially when the user has a slow internet connection. So the best approach in this kind of situations is to talk directly to the browser through JavaScript language instead of talking remotely to the server through VB language. Now let's handle the button go click event. So instead of writing all of this code here, I will delete this code. So I will not work with the query strings anymore, and I will have to copy those guys here and delete everything except the first line. And I will type here if not is post back, because the button will make a post back and also the drop down list. So in case there is no post back, run this code. Okay, now let's go to the button click event and let's paste here, but the select case this time will be for the drop sort by dot selected item dot value. So if the value equals sort index area or design number, do the following. Now let's save all, let's rebuild our solution, let's refresh. One thing I have to add here, that after the button got clicked, it has to become hidden again. So button go dot visible equals false back again. Now let's rebuild, refresh. And here is the second disadvantage of depending on post backs, as whenever the user tries to refresh the page after the first click, he will get the confirmation message, which considered misleading message for him, as he is sure that he hasn't filled any form or submitted so far. Now if you click the area here and click on the go button, okay, now it's working fine. Go to the design number, click OK, now it's working fine. The third disadvantage is that in case after the user changes the order the designs displayed inside the page, then decided to save the page as a bookmark, he will assume that if he returns back to this bookmark, he will find the designs ordered as per the choice he has already made before saving the bookmark. Whereas in case you decided to design your page depending on postback instead of query strings, he will find the designs ordered by default, which might be frustrating. So at the end I have one golden rule I always apply throughout every project I create. Only use the code behind page in two cases. The first case is during the page load, and the second case should be immediately before moving to another page. For example, when a button click event is responsible for redirect the user to another page using the response.redirect function. Anything on the middle between loading and leaving the page should be done through the AJAX technique. In other words, using a mix between the JavaScript code and VB code written inside ASMX file, like what we have already done on the previous video. In fact, all the respectful websites are following the same rule. For example, when you search for something inside Google, then press enter, you will be redirected to another page which has your search criteria included inside the URL. Consider Facebook as another example. When you create a new post, attach images to it, submit, then edit or delete it afterwards. All of those activities are done asynchronously without a single post back or a page refresh. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please press like.